no, hold on. Okay, go ahead.
Stuart Muscle here.
Here. Name, do you want her name? Yeah.
Oh, well.
He's looked at his site. Go through.
Okay, we don't have a lot tonight. I wanted to make you guys aware of everything that will be coming over the next couple months, as well as my last day will be August 3rd with the city. That being said, I have enjoyed working with every last one of you. I appreciate everything you guys do. I will still be heavily involved, and I will also I'm pretty frazzled right now. I've been putting everything together, getting all the documents together, processes. Over the last 2 years, we've kind of worked to take our processes, which had some major gaps and flaws in them, and adopt a lot of the county stuff, and then just customize it for our own stuff due to the fact that their processes are fantastic. I mean, they really are. They're well defined, they're well documented. They include everything that you need legally. So I've been adopting those. So when I leave, and the mayor can chime in at any point in time, we have this discussion at city council Monday, but an interlocal agreement has been signed where what will happen is the county will take over for me. So Chris will be the new city planner. That does not change the operations here. You will still have plan commission. You'll still have to go over development plans, discretionary stuff. Even the permits will be the ultimate decision of the city. So Chris will work in the facets or fashion that I work now. So he'll say, okay, someone wants a fence. Here's the rules you need for the fence. You need to abide by this. You need to get your permit. And if they're following every rule, no one can say no to that permit. Like, we just can't. It's a by right thing that they're allowed to do. So Chris will issue that. If there's a question, if there's a conflict, obviously Chris will reach out to Stuart or the mayor, depending, code enforcement, and then the mayor, and find out, what's going on, gather more details, etc. If someone needs a variance, Chris will write up the variance documentation, take that to hearings officer. If it's a development plan, he'll write up all that documentation, email it to you guys. He'll come here just like he usually is. He's not here tonight. I told him he didn't need to be here for this. He was here for the Monday meeting, the city council. I was like, you don't need to be here for this. But he would bring it to plan commission just like him and I have been doing for the last 2 years. Anything else that is discretionary, rezones, subdivisions, all that kind of good stuff, he'll just write up the documentation. Now, the other part of this is, and we've played with it, we haven't gone live with it yet, but Chris is going to finalize and go live on permits in the permitting application. So I've been putting together, here's all the permits from Ash Street, here's all the permits from this street, trying to get him all this data around that's been collected for the last 20 years, so that we can get that in the system. Ultimately, what we would like is where people are, that software allows them to apply for a permit online. It would be pushed out to Chris. Chris would say, yes, this is a by right permit, no big deal, or hey, they need a variance, hey, they need this. And then that would come back either to the hearings officer, or if it's something else, come back to you folks to decide on. They have the advantage where administration documentation will be handled either by Chris or by his 2 people in the office there. What we've done is we've been paying Chris to help us with this stuff for the last couple of years. That will continue, and then we'll be paying a little bit more, but then some of what I make each year will be coming back to the city. So the city will actually be getting some money back and I'm gonna ding myself here. I can't always get things out in time, or it's last minute. They are much better at that documentation. They are much better at that administrative process. I love doing work. I'm not great at administration. I love doing the work. I can't keep up. I really have enjoyed my time here. I've enjoyed working with you guys. Mine is just a change in life circumstances where I am needed much more elsewhere right So, questions, concerns on that whole topic?
Another thing I got is like, who's gonna call me to have it?
So what will likely happen is he will send out materials. He will, let you guys know, here's what we're gonna go over in the next planning commission. Obviously, we will have a planning commission in August, and I'll explain why here in a minute. But what will happen is Chris will say, okay, we have nothing this month. We'll probably go back. Before I came in, it was every other month. Then we got really busy with a lot of things. We were trying to get a comprehensive plan. It makes sense probably to go every other month unless there's something. And then, so the normal schedule will probably be every other month with the ability to say, we've got 3 items we really need to do. Let's do one this month. It won't be more than once a month. Same day unless you guys want to change it, but he'll send out the email. They'll shoot a text reminder to everybody. Hey, we're having this tomorrow. Hey, we're having this today. And they'll get all the materials. Now, it will come from the planner at cityofbutler.in.gov because that's that account that's always been just for planner, whoever is the planner. So when he sends emails out, he will send it through that email. And you guys will just know that it's coming from Chris. So he'll still send materials and all that good stuff. Yep, and I'll still be here for most of the meetings. It's the day-to-day that I'm not able to dedicate enough time to right now. So.
And like I said, it's something we didn't take class, we did the research on it. One thing you mentioned about being the same day, I'll add that at the end of the year, Don's retired. So we'll be looking for another attorney. So most of these meetings are set up to accommodate his schedule. So
yeah,
it could change, it could not change, depending on we'll end up getting in there for an attorney. But back to the city planner position, I've talked with Chris, Garner and stuff like that. And we knew Andy would hire him part-time, probably wasn't gonna be.
it wasn't gonna be forever.
It's been 2 years, 2 years in August.
Yeah.
And by shipping that to the county doesn't mean that we're totally eliminating the job. If we see fit, we can always bring that back to a part-time position. But talking to Chris, he said, with you guys' population 2,700, he said, I never could figure out why you guys had a full-time city planner. He said, with your population. And then ended up coming across an article that mentioned Columbia City's city planner was combined with the county's planner. So I ended up talking to Mayor Daniel down there at Columbia City, and he said, yeah, we haven't had a city planner since 1991. We're population 10,000 people. And he said, if I have a city planner full-time right now, I'm telling you, I cannot keep that person busy 40 hours a week. He said, so it's a good decision to go back that way, what you're doing. He says, it's going to save you some money. We think it's going to save us about $7,500 a year. Columbia City pays 25% of what the county's planning budget. I don't know where we're at on that. I'm just curious. I want to ask Chris where we're at on that. But that's probably one of the things that really sealed it with him leaving is we're a small community. I know we've had one before.
And the reason that Butler's always had a city planner is Butler never had a full-time mayor. So with a part-time mayor, city planner had a lot more things to do. Since Mike has come on board full-time, the redevelopment commission, the economic development commission, the day-to-day interacting with new businesses coming in, people wanting to come in, people wanting to start things, housing, etc. He's been able to take over most of that job. So all those extra responsibilities have really gone away from the city planner's job. So it makes sense, zoning, things like that, permits, going out and looking at, sites if you need to, but a lot of that responsibility that used to go on the city planner because we did not have a full-time mayor is now the mayor's doing that. So it makes more sense that we wouldn't have a city planner if it's just zoning, permitting, things like that. So he's been able to take over a lot, and that's taken a lot of what I would have been doing, or the city planner would have been doing, off of that task list. So, yeah.
A large portion of what you had to deal with was digitizing old records, getting out of the computer issues.
And changing some
harmonizing,
processes. Yeah. Yep.
So I mean, there was a lot of times you had to wear all the hats, but,
Yeah.
now that things have gotten a little more stable.
And another part of this is, there is quite a bit of new stuff coming to Butler, very much attributable to the mayor, going out and finding things, pushing people to build houses, trying to bring in businesses. So we do have a lot of stuff coming. So planning commission is gonna be very important. Zoning is gonna be very important. But I just don't have the time to do each one of those right now. So, some of the things that we do have coming, I mean, we have a lot of housing, a lot of infill happening. We have someone who is rezoning, you guys heard that rezone last time for Brian Furman, south of the school there, wants to put in some units. We have the new housing addition that should hopefully be happening Chapman Trails, Liberty and Independence there, 36, 38.
36 houses, and the RDC recommended, favorable recommendations to the city council, and you guys voted on it Monday night, that they're gonna provide $50,000 loan to this company to help offset that gap on the land. They are only willing to go to $350,000 on this land, and owners held out at 400, weren't gonna budge. And my point to them was, we're not gonna lose 36 housing units over $50,000. It's only $1,500 per household. And, you figure 4 people a household in that, you're looking at 144 people there.
Yep.
And then the other project that he's gonna talk about, south side a little bit.
Yeah. So we have, what we're hoping, same builder, we're hoping to put in down by Southside Park, 40 units, around 40 units.
Phase one.
Phase one is about 40 units. It would be multifamily. And what it is it's basically buildings of 4 units, a downstairs and an upstairs each unit.
Quads.
Yeah.
Quads with attached garages.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. So
I don't think there's garages.
there's not garages,
Oh.
there's parking.
I just know that there's something like that.
And that parking may be covered or it may not be covered, but
Yeah.
it's should be a very nice unit down there, and we're looking at different ways to do it, but, the park's right there. A little more presence is gonna make that whole area kind of just a little safer, et cetera. So we have that kind of stuff coming. We really have a lot of housing coming into Butler right now. I mean, you guys have seen the infill.
That's phase one for 40, and what's phase
Yeah.
2 be 20.
Yeah,
So there's a total of 60 units, and there again, if you go back to 3 or 4 people per unit, that's giving you another 180 to 240 people. You add the other 150 or so down here, you add on the infills, you add on what Furman's doing, what Keppel's been doing, what Henderson's been doing, what Dennis Miller's been doing. We feel the next 4 years or less, we're gonna add 10% of Butler's population. You don't see communities add 10% in that short period of time. So the biggest thing is we kind of learned our lesson not to work with the big Lancias and the Granite Ridges and stuff. Go to your small time builders like who we're working with, 5 of them now. Go to them guys there. They're more than happy to come to small community. Costs are a lot less. Lancia, Granite Ridge, they're gonna stay in Fort Wayne. They're gonna work on a 200 unit housing development. They don't even have to leave the county. They don't have to send their guys an hour each way back and forth and have that extra cost. So learned a lesson. Probably should have learned that maybe a couple years ago, but at the time, I was part-time,
Well, mass production is not always the way to go with housing anymore.
and
live and learn.
all of these, we're hitting a bunch of different, price ranges as well. We're hitting, 175,000, we're hitting around 2 to 250. The houses over in Chapman Trails will probably be 3 to 375.
350 to about 4.
350 to about 4.25. We were trying to hit all different areas of housing, with each one of these, and also single families and multifamily residential. So, we're really kind of running the gambit on giving people an option and a price range that they're comfortable with.
I mean, even on just the housing, now you look at, you already know about the AutoZone guns, they're probably gonna start
And that's,
after Labor Day weekend, so we start to see commercial on the west side going,
and that's another one we can talk about. So, AutoZone is putting in for permits, getting their building permits, and hoping to start in September, building the AutoZone. Dairy Queen has followed up. We did a pre-conference before the development plan comes to you guys. So the next step there, and it will 95% likelihood come here in August for you guys to go through their development plan, just like you did AutoZone, and approve, give variances as necessary to make sure they have all of the required components, and get them ready to go through the permitting process as well so that they can start building a Dairy Queen. I had a lady call me yesterday to acquire temporary sign permits for Dairy Queen. Basically, business coming soon, Dairy Queen coming soon. So they're actually permitting right now for their temporary signs while they wait to get through the development plan and then start building. So we have good things going on there.
And that land's already been bought, so it's not like you're gonna have a hold up there.
Right.
And then the other land next to Ben's under contract for another, I can't say right now, but another national chain. So.
Yeah.
It's looking good on that west side, and you put the housing on top of that, I mean,
You guys are gonna
you'll see
have
a difference.
a lot ahead of you. And I'm working on email, et cetera, everything to Chris to hand this off properly. So he has a full packet. Here's everything that's going on. Here's everything that's gonna be coming. One thing you guys will have in August, he'll do it in August. You guys have to review, and that will have to get sent out soon. New state law requires us to review together as a plan commission, certain parts of our ordinance and codes. You have to have a public hearing for it. So there'll be a public hearing where people can come basically and chime in on different things, and you guys will have to review our current ordinances. So that's another piece that'll be coming. I'll get you more information on that here in the next week. What else? We do still have a ton of text amendments up in the air that due to the AutoZone and then now due to me leaving, I just haven't gotten there. They're written up, they're ready to go. Chris will probably call for a public hearing on a number of text amendments, all at once, get your guys' thoughts, approvals. And most of them you guys have we've already spoken about. Just haven't gotten them through yet, but clean up, touch ups, bringing some of the verbiage up to speed, like we don't allow asbestos. Yeah. But for some reason that's still in there. And it's interesting because most of our ordinances make very good sense still to this day. But then there's some older things like that that need to be removed. So you guys are gonna be busy. Chris will be bringing a lot all at once, just because it makes sense. So I would assume in August we'll have a development plan review. We'll have the thing for the state, and we'll probably have text amendments to go into place. So it's gonna be busy.
We're not really losing, a couple people left, but we're gonna lose local control. We're not, so that's plan commission to go through there, and like Andrew and I talked, probably 9 out of 10 times, if they're in Auburn getting their construction permit, they gotta come back to Butler to get their ILP permit.
Right.
Or if they come here and get their ILP, we've got to send them to the county. Now you're gonna try, kind of simplify that.
Yep. Everyone will go one place.
And it's gonna be designed to be online, right, so they can do it.
Yes, that's what the
Travel.
That's what the eventual will be. They'll get all the permits into the system. We'll start using their ILP, and it is better than ours. It's one that I never took to public hearing to get it changed, but their ILP is a better one than ours. They'll get that on the internet. They'll do it for a little bit by hand because it makes sense to get more new kinks out, and it'll go online. So the other one that we're gonna have to look to change is, I will be sending out the email with the finals on permit cost for you guys. We've already spoken about it a couple times, but I put together the comments I had, and here's a final for that, and we'll have to have a public hearing. But that's gonna need to change, and honestly, it really does. So even when we brought in the ETJ, they were paying, I think the county, I wanna say it's $35 off the top of my head for an ILP, and then they had their construction, their building for $45 for that. Well, when we took over the ETJ, they actually got a huge break and went down to the $15 we charge. But it's all over at the county. It makes sense, especially if we're either at or below the county. I mean, that's what makes sense. We're not trying to gouge people, but at the same time, something for processing, all of that stuff, it makes sense. I think we'll still be lower than the counties, but it will be a fair price, but what makes sense. Now, some things I'm gonna send this out as well. Some things I think that we need to get rid of. Yes, I believe we need to have a dumpster permit but I think it should be free for the dumpster portion. No one ever reports a dumpster anyways. I think it's a good trade-off. We would not do dumpster permits for commercial or industrial for free, but for our citizens, you know, yes, anyone who has a dumpster permit, 95% likelihood, they're then gonna have to come back and get an ILP to build something, renovate something, do something. So do we charge them for a dumpster and then for renovations, or do we just say, no, go get your ILP for your renovations in the dumpster permit. Thank you for making us aware. We've documented it. You need to do this, this, and this, move forward.
More like kudos, thank you for taking your trash out while you're doing it.
Yes, yes. So there are a couple of changes like that in play as well, but Chris will have a lot for you guys, but I think it's gonna be good for Butler. His staff and him are organized. They are good at process, they are good at administration. We lose nothing in the way of control. Any discretionary comes back to you guys or to the hearings officer. So whoever that, Chris is currently the hearings officer. We will have to change him out with someone else. That was something that him and some of our previous planners had, were both the planner and the hearings officer, which I don't think is fair for you to do the research and also say yes or no to someone. So that's why Chris has been our hearings officer. We'll switch someone out so that Chris is not both, obviously. I do have another one that will be coming soon. Siebert is going to do some upgrades to theirs. They put in some design stuff for gas pumps, diesel pump, et cetera, parking lot in there. That will not, just so you guys know, that will be a permitted thing. It's an existing business that makes sense with their business. We're not gonna drag them in here for a development plan review because it's not a development plan. The business is there. They're doing business. It's just an expansion of business. So they're not gonna come in here because they don't need to. The time for that would have been when they first went out there and did their business out there. So when that comes through and you guys see that permit coming through and them beginning work, don't think that it should have come here. Because they are propane and diesel and gas, and it makes sense that they would add a pump or they would do this. We don't, make every single business that needs to add a new piece of equipment come in here and redo a whole development plan. You guys will obviously get the layout, everything. Chris will probably still bring it to you guys so that you guys can see all the plans, talk about it, see if you guys have any things you want to discuss, but it's not something that needs to come here for a formal public hearing like AutoZone. AutoZone's brand new. They needed to come for a development plan. Dairy Queen will be brand new. They need to come here for a development plan. So.
We talked about you, a couple of people have asked about it. Then it should come with a developmental plan first time, not have to second time, but won't have much say over that. But if you want to add some language in there to where they, I've had some people complain about how the place starting to look. A lot of high weeds out there, there's some abandoned vehicles that you guys can discuss that.
Yes.
That plan commission meeting and put that as part of the agreement with part of the guide, I don't want to say guideline, I want to say enforcement, I guess you could bring that up and say, we'll okay this, but you need to fix this, this and that.
In the development plans that I saw look good. I mean, they're gonna clean things up, they're gonna put in the parking lot, let them know that they have to have hard surface on everything, so there's no dust, that kind of stuff. So the time, like I said, the time for that would have initially been years ago when they first started doing that. It should have come in for a development plan review, but that didn't happen, and it is what it is. But I'm not gonna make them come back after the fact when they shouldn't need to. So.
Yeah, like you made a comment, the first drawing we seen was all gravel all the way around. Can you imagine sitting at Dairy Queen eating a blizzard, tank to come in? Limestone road.
Yep.
And it's as hot as, the weeks have been. What you talked about, AutoZone has some computer stuff off the back. That would be cool.
Yeah. Oh, no, the Dark Star has, they just have blowers for cooling. Dark Star down there is a very small, computer operation, server operation, but they use what's called dry cooling. And dry cooling is the lines are filled with basically like a black hole, and they just cool it with fans. Well, can you imagine a dust storm coming up and then blowing all of that into their operation, like that would not be good. So we will enforce that, hard surface of some type. So, no doubt.
Proper drainage and stuff like that.
Yeah, so,
I mean, just because they have an established business doesn't mean that they can't add on without environmental control.
yes, we still need it to make sense with the ordinance. They'll have to follow the ordinance for those components they want to do. So, am I missing anything? I don't think so. Any questions or concerns?
Transition.
Okay. I'm in IT. Chris is actually supposed to be a city planner or a zoning administrator. He's the brains behind the operation. So it'll be good for you guys. And like I said, I'll probably still be at most every meeting. They're just gonna make me sit up there.
So,
That's right.
let's give me a microphone.
Speak up when you need to.
Right? Yeah, that's all I had. We didn't have anything major. I just wanted to make everyone aware and tell you what we're coming down over the next 4 to 5 months for you guys. We'll be busy.
There's nothing else. Yeah, you got a question, you might as well bring that up about the driveway.
Well-
Yeah, it's a good time to bring that up.
But 2 doors to the east,
Yeah.
there was a guy that put stone down. And I stopped, and I said, yeah, are you gonna put pavement down that matches your driveway? And I think he said yes, but
On the
the
westward,
stone, huh?
on westward,
Yeah, the stone is as high as.
that's when I called you if they had a permit on it.
Yeah.
With the property line dispute one.
But I thought our ordinance stated that if you're gonna put something in, it has to be the same as.
We've been giving,
Next to.
no, we've been giving people the ability across the city to increase their driveway size. And if there's other people around them that have already done it, but I'm pretty sure it's
Yeah,
westward.
right across the street.
The plan for them was to get the stone down initially and then soon put down concrete over the top of it. That was the plan for that one. More of a do it in stages because everything is extremely expensive right now, but I did hand that permit out. We've been doing it across the city. So we also
What
say,
does the order say? Does it say it has to be hard surface like?
no, it's off of like an alley. If you're putting off of an alley or something, like a driveway coming off an alley that's concrete or something, you have to match that. But past the initial pad, unlike those houses out there, there's not really anything saying that they have to have a hard surface there. So,
Cause that's what, you showed me in the, cause I was like, well, they can't do that, can they? And he's like, no, they're.
now it does need to have some sort of border to make
Border
sure
on
that
it,
it all stays
the
in
right
place.
kind.
Yeah, they put a
Okay,
baby
yeah.
on the side.
Yeah, there's a lot of rules to do it, but
Yes.
they can put rock,
They can.
still with the.
I did ask them specifically though, and their intent is to put concrete over the top. Not 10 years down the road, but like late this year or next year, I believe. Like that is the intent to get that
And
finished.
they can go up to the sidewalk,
Yes,
to stone.
yes.
But you can't drive on the sidewalk.
No, you cannot drive on the
Just
sidewalk.
the driveway.
No, you cannot drive on the sidewalk.
Well, then I'd never get to my house.
Well,
But no,
that's,
you have to side,
I The way you said it, it's like, you can't drive on the sidewalk. Half of us would never get to our homes.
And in
it's
that,
getting hard on.
that westward one was an interesting situation because Beacon showed it as they would not have enough room to do it.
Yeah.
However, they had an actual survey that showed that Beacon was
Off.
like 5 foot off on the.
kind of a couple houses down here that are like in the railroad area.
Yeah. Beacon is great, but it's not always correct. I mean, it is off sometimes, and sometimes it is dead on. Yeah, so, yep, the intent for them is to eventually put the concrete down.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird, a lot of it has to do with, like a city or something here, like, if someone was gonna do something here, but as long as you contain it on a residential area like that, then you're okay. And we have in certain areas as well, you guys approved it initially last year, I think it was, and then city council did. I have an exception form that allows, me to approve someone to put it in, a park strip as well. Like a, with a border and some stone, and most of that is because we already have them everywhere across the city. So if someone wants to either do one, it has to make sense, but if they wanna clean it up and make it nice again, I can give them an exception, I make them sign that, I make them basically, here's what it's gonna be made of, you're gonna maintain it, and then I can approve that. I don't do those often, but they're much more metered, and it's for scenarios where people really don't have much parking that they can utilize, in some of these older areas. You would not down there see me give anyone permission to put something in the park strip. Plus I have to check with streets, water, sewer, because we also don't want people putting stuff over our utilities. So that's not something you would see there, but you would see it in some of the older, old town residential, because it's smaller, there's not as much room, that kind of thing. So, yep. Not many people have actually asked for a park strip exception. A number of people have asked, you know, can I put new stone down? Yes, I would love that comparatively to these massive ruts right next to the road. But yeah, we do have that ability as well. Yeah. It's actually, the way that I remember when I first started coming into the planning commission meetings here, you guys were actually reviewing that whole driveway, stone, what was allowable.
Well, the one thing is getting the trailers and stuff off to the front of the house.
Yeah.
You know, we got one guy down there that he works there all the time. He works on it too, you know, and everything else. So I don't know how we're gonna get that one out. I mean, it's the whole length of the driveway.
Yeah, that's not.
And I don't know where he would put it. I really don't.
I think that's.
According to parking, it's allowed.
Is it?
Yeah, as long as it's not over the sidewalk.
Well,
He
you're
can
not-
also put it in his yard, anywhere he wants, it
Yeah.
doesn't say.
Okay.
I mean, it's,
I was gonna say that from a code enforcement, that's a code
I
enforcement.
thought parking vehicles on your front lawn was
no cars, trailers.
trailers.
I'm not saying spread that around.
Right. And that's a code enforcement thing.
So I
as opposed
could
to-
double my housing on my property.
Trailers.
Not you,
can-
you can't.
Trailers cannot be parked on the street. They have to be parked in
Well-
the driveway or the yard.
And even then, you can't be living in a trailer parked in your driveway.
Well, I'm just talking trailer, like
No,
big closed trailer.
And if you were,
not
and if you were
RV.
doing a business out of a trailer, that would be illegal. That would be a home occupation that you would have to get.
RV, you can't park.
Well, he works on his own
Right.
stuff.
It's gotta be on the
Oh,
driveway.
gotcha.
Police chief can do it every day.
That's right.
Does a lot of welding,
Yeah, I gotcha.
remodeling car.
I'm just talking about like an enclosed trailer. or an
His
open
shop is
trailer.
basically his trailer.
Yeah.
So he'll take his trailer where he needs to work it, but then every now and then he's working at home out of his trailer, and, yep. Yeah, how that is.
Can't do everything.
You were probably talking about the guy who races that Camaro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been by and keeps it off the sidewalk, it's just in the driveway.
I walk by that most mornings, it's not blocking that down.
I did have to tell him to keep his dog, so the dog can't reach the sidewalk.
Yeah,
He's done a good,
That's
he's
still
always
scary.
very open about that, really nice guy.
The dog's coming after me, but it hasn't bit me.
That dog is super friendly,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's barking because he wants attention, is what he's
but
doing.
in the end, any dog will bite. So you cannot have that dog get to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And he shortened that leash while I was there to make sure he couldn't, so.
As far as the parking goes, I mean, that's something that probably should be revisited at some point. I didn't think when I read through it that it made much sense. We just had a lot of other things going on, so I never really brought it up, but I was here for the revision of it, and it just, a lot of it didn't make sense to me, so I think you guys should harass Chris about that.
Even on West Broadway there, I mean, to go both ways, it's hard to get two cars there and then get around.
Gotcha.
Going through.
West
You know,
Broadway?
What's that? Yes, not West.
I was gonna say,
Okay.
I thought Broadway went north.
Not
and
Broadway.
south.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I don't remember there were two lanes.
Westward,
Okay,
Yeah, just West.
I know where I think.
And yeah, you definitely need to keep things off the street there. It is difficult to go both ways on that.
It is, I mean, you know, especially if somebody's pulling a trailer or something, you know, it's.
That's what I noticed
I
down
mean,
here.
there's nothing you can really do, I mean, it's.
Yeah, it's the pebble strips down here by Workers World on both sides. You can tell trailers have tore up those down there. It's like, yeah, okay. Now, I know that you can just unscrew them and put new plates down, but it's just like, you need to do something to keep trailers off the sidewalks.
Yeah, we talked to NDOT about that first of the week, and they, NDOT puts them in, hires a contractor, but they said that's our responsibility to replace those.
Of course, yeah. Mhm.
What else? You guys got any other thoughts, questions?
Just the rumor mills. I called the, town hall, they didn't pick up garbage on North Broadway.
Yeah,
Yeah, so hopefully they'll come back for that.
well, yesterday, Booster Street and, Green Street by Stewart's Church, GFL caught a power line cable and fiber and snapped the pole down.
Yikes.
And it took them almost 8 hours to fix it. I think
I heard about it.
8:30 last night. I think it went down about 1, and by 8:30 they were still out of power. And so they brought in another garbage truck to help finish the route, but they didn't get it finished yesterday.
And that's kind of what I figured,
Yeah,
that's where it's summertime,
they're coming out
vacation
tomorrow.
breaks, yeah.
Coming out tomorrow.
As long- If any of you ever hear somebody didn't get their garbage picked up, if we call them within 24 hours, they will come back and pick it up.
And I know that by contract, so that's why I was like, okay, I just figured I'd give somebody the heads up, cause she sounded like she had no clue that Broadway had gotten missed.
We have to know.
Just give
What
you
we
a
do
heads
is
up.
we'll get those phone calls Friday afternoon, hey, they missed my trash. Sorry, we need to know yesterday.
Yeah.
And that's why I called Wednesday, if my garbage isn't picked up by 3 o'clock, where the heck are they? Because it was ridiculous.
We'd rather you do that than not.
No, not a problem, it was, I barely had anything in there
The
anyway.
GFL driver called me down there about, 6 months ago, because I'm dragging on that line, I'm like, okay, well, you'll need to call I&M and tell them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm letting you know, I was like, I have nothing to do with that.
Yep, GFL's got a document, they called in, PD has a document, they called in.
Okay.
It's just negligent on AEP side.
Yeah.
They've known that this is an issue and have done nothing.
Well, now it's an expensive fix.
Yeah, he snapped the pole there, then I seen 2 crews working on the line behind the old Family Dollar, so it affected it all the way down there.
Yeah, they usually have
Stretch it out.
bolted to the, there's no slack in those things. I mean, there's enough in there for heating and cooling, but they usually have them pretty solid on the poles.
The AEP guy, when he got there, he goes, technically, he says, pole here and here, he said, we should have another pole right here in the middle, that's too long of a run to run that line with.
Poles must have
With
been
cable
bad
on
just a little bit.
Yep,
They kept bringing it down.
Mother Nature gets it after a while.
Same trucks every week.
The same thing happened to me.
Anything on bond then? I saw that they were doing some landscaping.
It's a thing,
Yeah.
I saw the cleanup, so I'm like, oh,
Thank you, I think
It
it
is.
is made a point,
It
we
is
need to get it cleaned up.
too little, too late.
Yeah, so Stewart wrote a violation for code,
Several, but one
but now he's gonna get with Don, because they missed that date.
Yeah.
Even though they're cleaning up now, they missed that date, we're still gonna issue tickets for each single
They have
violation
a court date on the 28th.
for the building, right?
No, for the ticket that I wrote.
For 20, for
They're
this
trying to
month.
fix now, yeah.
Yeah, so there's summons to come to court first part of September for the building side of it too. And I believe that fine was up to 1,000 a day on the building side.
Don and I have not gone through that yet, we're gonna do that Tuesday.
I was thinking of.
It's between 1,000 and 2,500 a day if it isn't corrected. And really, you can clean all that up front you want, all the rest of that's over 8 inches still.
Yeah.
That's
Well-
28 acres of property over 8 inches.
You
You
still
got a
got a
lot of
creek cutting
work.
through that lot too, don't you?
Huh?
You still got a creek cutting through that lot, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
And then there's a lot of
yeah,
material and standing water and
So that's
broken
environmental
doors.
now.
Oh, yeah, that's all included.
it's not just beautification, it's environmental now.
Yep.
Well, I didn't been in there and remediated a lot of that. I don't believe there's any more hazards.
And they've
Hazards
been,
they're gonna find will be inside if they find, which they
Oh,
they
yeah.
probed in there and it's come up pretty decent. They got one spot they think might be a, heating tank in there for the building that's.
So you got a few
still
heavy metals
underground.
hiding around in there.
But for the most part, they've come back pretty good. They remediated it.
Well, the creek actually doesn't look too bad, I just figured it was just full of rubbish and trash.
very well, that whole yard is, there's holes in the fence, there's obviously people that are going in there You know, there's obviously people going into the building, there's broken doors, there's broken glass, I mean, it's just, it's bad.
And it's an industrial.
If you wanna own it, that's great, but take care of it.
So
All of that grass needs cut down.
That was the other thing I was gonna say, is he offsetting the fines by renting parking spaces for the trailers?
Well, the trailers are on
They're just parking there.
the trailers are more, those are different fines, that's junk vehicles on his property. Most of those aren't even good. They're not, yeah.
Wheels off of one trailer.
Oh, there's holes in them, there's melted down brakes and burnt desks.
There is less out there in front of it.
Well,
Now.
they figured that out
Most of
too.
these side of it.
Yeah, when they did the groundskeeping stuff, they all got tucked to one end. So
It's-
I'm like,
it's amazing
"Hey, some
how much-
mobile."
You know, all they had to do was, I wrote them a letter a month ago, told them they needed to do this. Well, they didn't, so I wrote them a ticket. Now they're doing it, but they're doing it like a week before their court date. You still have to pay the fine. And it was the whole property. All that needs cut down in order the fine
Yeah,
accumulates.
it's only done close to the road, yeah.
Yeah, that is, yeah, so,
That word to Don, when we go Stewart this Monday night, I said, hey, Don, you need to be a pit bull and that's not a poodle. We're tired of yanking around some people.
Yeah.
They, nothing, done nothing, and we need to get them where it hurts.
First it gets you so far, but then eventually you gotta put your foot down.
well, you know.
Cause what did we figure out? We figured up at, maybe it was $750 a day, but if you got that daily fine, that would be $250,000 in a year's time.
Yeah, before you know it.
That'll grab somebody's attention no matter how much money you got.
And let them know that, that's a accumulating day, you know, I made sure they were completely aware of the situation. And that, you know, it needed cleaned up. I mean, there's so much just junk out there, and overgrown weeds and trees and just
Everybody passes by it, that's the bad thing.
pests and rats.
Oh, yeah, it's not like it's hidden. It's
No.
right there.
That's okay, we got all that in town too.
Well,
Look at my
don't think
neighbors that live behind me that don't like to mow their grass all the
don't
time.
think that's not adding to it, that's just it. I mean, there's a breeding
We have to
ground out
now-
there at Bond.
Catching like ground chuck, whatever the heck they're called.
I got them to cut everything around their house down.
Finally.
Hey,
Well, you've gotta tell them every day
Yeah.
because they're that type of people. They can't figure out how to, I don't know.
I tell you, if I was a hunter, deer hunter, I would love to set out there at that Bond aluminum, cause
Oh, yeah.
there's
They know they're safe, now leave them alone.
big bucks in there. Well, I said if I was a hunter, I'm not, so. But you imagine they start cleaning that out, the wildlife they're gonna chase out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like any crop season, as soon as the crops start coming down, the deer hits are
Yep.
dime a dozen at that point.
Yeah, we were back there last year and they had many paths wore down, bedding, and stuff like that, just, there's a.
Well, they're in town,
Nobody
right?
go back there.
Ah,
Nobody can go back there.
It's safe, haven, yeah.
We actually had a doe lay down and take a nap in our backyard a couple of years ago. I was like, wow, just literally right up off of
we
Broadway.
were out there
Is
walking,
that,
saw a fox.
Is it in the freezer now?
No. I haven't hunted for probably about 30 years.
Plus,
I probably can't even feel,
Right.
I probably can't even feel the deer anymore. Yeah. Any news on the old, food center?
The buyer, that was the most serious,
Other than a bank sale?
kind of backed out a little bit, because they thought they could get the building for $500,000, but the organization that bought the note, I think they bought the note for $605,000. They went and cleaned it up, they left all the meat in the freezers and the walk-in cooler had.
Oh, yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, we opened up the door, and just come out at you.
I tell you, they just turned the power off and walked away.
Yep.
Well, they threw some of it in the dumpster and never had it picked up.
Wow.
So they bought the note for $605 and they've done some work, and now they want $650 for the note. So there's $150,000 gap between the building, what they want, and what the buyer wants to do, so. Still working with them a little bit, they're getting the business plan together, we might have a couple investors to take them to see if they're interested.
I had a decent deli and just needed a couple decent freezers and, you know, you could turn that into another delicatessen type of thing. You walk in, get some food and.
Oh, I said,
It's
it's probably
groceries.
$650 just for the building. They didn't shut those freezers down the right way, so all that blood.
So now you gotta buy bread.
It's probably on the motor, and stuff like that, so
Well, a lot of those
you're.
freezers weren't any good either.
What's that?
A lot of them freezers weren't any good.
Yeah, they didn't do routine maintenance on, but yeah, you could put another $350,000 in equipment in there, so now you're pushing $1 million, and that's not even filling the store up.
And if he had the back freezer shut down with meat in it, it's gonna ruin it too. That's,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But we're still, we got a couple of people that expressed some interest, but they're probably not as good as what that first option was.
And I also heard Janice took a hit.
Mhm.
I thought they were in planned shutdown for 4th of July until got my hair cut and found out that it was warehouse only now.
It's gonna be a DC, gonna employ 9 people.
Sounds like my old place in Bryan.
Didn't, the thing you had up here for the job work,
Oh, the job fair,
yeah, that turned out pretty
that
good.
went really good. They had 30 employers sign up, 29 of them showed up. They did a job fair the month before where Albertville YMCA had hardly anybody show up. They said this is one of the best job fairs they had been to. A lot of the industries were happy, got a lot of good leads and everything, so.
Of course, you get the complainers, well, why would I go there to go online to apply? It's like, well, that's how you apply for jobs nowadays.
The amount of things I had to hop through when I quit my job just to try to get a lead somewhere. Parkview, where I'm at currently, you have to apply, if there's 3 nursing positions, the exact same position, you have to apply for each one of them. You just can't say, I'm applying, and then it's that way. And if you use Monster, you use Indeed, you fill out their forms, but it doesn't do you any good, because when you follow a lead to another business, they want you to fill out a whole other
Yeah,
form.
it doesn't always, yep.
So you spend 8 hours a day
Trying to
finding
find a
for 2
job.
things, yeah. When I first quit, got out of college, 163 mailers I mailed out. My current wife, at the time, girlfriend, we sat down for a whole weekend, ordered up a pizza. I burned up a couple cartridges out of my in-law's computer because he had a printer. We were licking, sending them. I went into the post office with a big old stack of mailers just to mail them out. You can't do that anymore.
And you're supposed to
Well,
go
let's face it,
know
the
somebody.
70s were a different time.
Not quite that far, but we're pretty close.
69?
95 was.
Oh, yeah.
Before internet, yeah. But still, modems were being used, because that was one of my jobs I had to do with, another.
95, I was in elementary school.
One thing about
Did you
that
say
job,
95 or 85?
95 was my college, yeah. Graduated.
I was gonna say 85, I was still in diapers.
88. Where's the real one?
another thing about the job fair, they didn't get as much turnout on the Janus employees as they thought, but the day before the job fair, they announced that they were giving all the employees a 12-week severance package. So that,
They're gonna sit on it, which is
So-
stupid.
and then the employers there said the ones that are the good workers
Are the ones
will
that
be
shut up.
here today.
Yes, yeah.
Another thing too, most organizations, when they close down, gives you a couple weeks notice, and then one can go in there and go to every shift and talk to every single employee. Well, they announced Monday that they were gonna close down. Thursday was their last day.
Yikes.
I got a letter on Tuesday about the warn notice. They never sent that warn notice out to the state or work one, anybody. I was the only one that got a notice on that, and I thought, well, everybody else got a notice, I'm not gonna call them, but something back in my mind said, you need to call them to see what they're gonna do. They never do anything about it. We just got that letter up here and that was it. So they didn't do things the right way with employees.
I got buddies at my old job, because I put in my 2 weeks and left, but I know that they were in the process of being sold and handed over. One of my buddies that still worked there went into work, and the cop was right there and said, "You're not entering today. This place is closed." So apparently somebody got a warning notice beforehand, and nobody from the owning company that was buying it decided to show up to tell anybody that they were out of a job. That's a bad transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not pretty over there. And I only had one other question, and that probably goes back to where you're heading back to. With all the latest publicity about all these data centers, does DeKalb actually have
So-
a written
No,
moratorium?
DeKalb has a very good start, and they are working through it. They have a committee, a separate committee assigned from the planning commission to work on that. I think, and the nice thing here is Chris is obviously the zoning administrator, so he will know everything they're doing. But we may even want to get something in before them, just for our ETJ areas. And it may need to be smaller. We just allow much smaller. I mean, it's so close to the city, let's say the county allows 500 acre data center. I don't think they would, but let's just say that they did. For the city, shouldn't be over hundreds, 100, you know what I mean? Or maybe 50. We just need to substantially decrease that because of proximity to the city. I did go to the last DeKalb Plan Commission where they had a guy come in and talk from Purdue, and it was a lot of the information I already knew, but something I had suspected, and he confirmed it nicely, was they're to the point where the big data centers are kind of done. They've pushed their way in everywhere they could, and people are getting wise to it. So most of those are being denied, if not outright moratorium on them completely. He said, data centers at this point, you can tell them what you want, and they're gonna do it. They're desperate to get stuff in. So even if it's a small site, no water usage, completely recycled, cooling, et cetera. He's like,
Closed loop system.
yeah, he's like, tell them what you want and they'll come still, so.
The biggest thing that I've been hearing of late has been the noise ordinance stuff.
Yeah, well, and even that, there's nothing saying that you guys couldn't require them to put, how they have like on highways, the sound barriers? Yeah, put sound barriers around your plant or whatever. But there's some things we need to lay out, but I think whatever the county does in general, let's say the county's max is 200 acres. You guys should allow 75 or 50. It should be smaller due to proximity from the city, but put the rules in, and if they still want to come, they'll come. And it is a good chunk of money coming in, but at the same time, it needs to make sense for the residents. It needs to be something that the residents are comfortable with. So if that means no pulling water for cooling, and you have to recycle all your cooling and use dry cooling to do it. And another one is a lot of it is concerned over electricity usage. Well, I believe the state is actually requiring them to pay like 120% of their usage. But even the little one that's been here for years and years and years, Dark Star, they're very small. It's the footprint of a Dollar General.
Yeah.
Or a Family Dollar.
Well, it's like, he's basically the same thing on a micro scale.
Yeah, and it's a micro scale, but what they do is AEP, if the grid starts to get taxed, AEP sends them a shutdown signal, and within 5 minutes, all of their servers go silent and dead, and they don't pull any more power. That's the types of technology they have now, and you write some of those things in,
No, it's like the windmills. The windmills are controlled in Germany.
Oh, yeah.
And all the lighting's synchronized and everything else, and if they decide that they wanna shut it off, they can turn off all the turbines all the way from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's one of those, write your desire to what the people of Butler and the surrounding ETJ are comfortable with. And if they still wanna come under those rules, cool, you guys have set the rules.
It's still gotta go under public review anyway,
Yeah.
so, just because we think it might be okay and safe and everything else, somebody still might go, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
I went to the mayor's conference in May, Indy, and the mayor from Hobart got up there and talked, and they've got I think a Meta data center there. They got like 600 acres, they're gonna try to turn that into a big data center, get like 5 or 6 of them there. They are cutting them a check for $50 million a year for the next 30 years. And he says, we can't spend that money. He said, we'll never get to this. We're making grants out to people to fix their homes, and let's forget over loans and doing this and that. But our budget is his budget is like 23 million. He said, we're never gonna spend this. And then the mayor from Michigan City got up and she said, well, I took some criticism that I didn't get a good enough deal like what Hobart's getting. But she said, we took a Brownsfield site, like 30 acres, and put a data center there. And she goes, they're cutting us a check for $5 million a year. She said, it's just a brownfield site that needs remediated, and we're making $5,000 a year off of it, $5 million a year off of it, and she goes, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, the bubble on that's gonna pop here shortly.
And honestly, the personal opinion here, but the bond site, I think it'd be the perfect test case. You don't let them pull groundwater, you make them recycle their cooling, you make them shut down when the grid is taxed, you make them do the stuff, the state of Indiana, like 120% of your electric cost you pay or whatever. Whatever.
Or
other
they can
rules.
self-generate their power.
Yeah, because I mean, much of that is a brownfield field. So why would you not?
In the end, to me, the cost of not having data centers won't be evident for 20 to 25 years, and it's gonna be astronomical. It'll be devastating.
Well, the problem that they're having with AI right now, there's no regulations.
Oh, yeah.
There's no regulations on biometric, privacy either.
That's
So
why you
as
have,
soon as the US starts getting caught up to where the EU is on that, you're not gonna see data centers. You're gonna see data centers starting to disappear real fast, because they think they need to stay ahead of China on this. It's not gonna be that way. It's, because China doesn't care about your personal privacy.
You'll never keep up with China because they don't. They'll slap a data center wherever they want.
they control and own it all.
And it's
And
all
if they
chips.
don't, they'll just take it. They don't have the same qualms that we have.
What they need to do is they need to get
It's the
out of
nature of social.
data centers and start building chips. That's what they need to do. They need to get out of data centers and they need to start building chips, because you need to get chip manufacturing out of Taiwan and back on US soil. So that way we don't have to worry about covering them.
Well, there's a lot of neat ideas out there to access data that's already available.
One speaker told us that if we would cut our usage of this 50% a day, we would need.
When
We're
I
gonna
went on,
start that, because they don't know if kids have them in schools.
when I went on my
Yeah,
cruise,
it's
the
like that.
digital disconnect when I was on my cruise was phenomenal. I had a little bit of withdrawal the first day, thinking, oh, I just want to catch up on the news. No, after a while, the only reason why I had it was so that way I could see what their cruise itinerary was, because they have
Everything's on an
Wi-Fi.
app.
Yep,
Now, you guys did see yesterday where apparently one AI hacked another AI,
yep, broke out of its sandbox.
broke out of its sandbox and autonomously hacked another. So it was ChatGPT hacked some small AI.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Oh,
honestly.
great, that's all I need, AI competing for dominance.
Well, the odd thing is they actually did
I'm preaching it.
This is how you get silence.
Yeah.
JPL did an experiment. They actually had ChatGPT, Claude, and what's Musk's one? Grok. There you go. On 3 different phones, and they had one start to communicate together,
Oh, yeah.
and then next thing you know, they started talking in machine language in all 3 of them.
They had their own language.
Yep, they had all broken it down so that they could streamline it.
Well, that's what cracks me up. They're like, well, it solved the problem. It'd take us millions of years to figure out. I'm like, well, how do you know it's right? Like, anybody giving you an answer, but how do you know it wasn't just 42, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait till you get on the healthcare side, because boy, I tell you what, the lawyers side has really started to blossom on the Parkview side because of all this AI.
Yeah.
It's not all warm and fuzzy, yeah.
I want to say it was Claude, and don't quote me on that, but there was an article where it was presented with the possibility that it would be shut off at 5:00 p.m. And it was like 70 or 80% of the time, it either resorted to blackmail or murder.
Yep.
Well, it's the easiest path.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
All right, that's enough of that conversation.
Then the only other thing I got is, has anybody looked at this corner lot up here about possibly turning it into a food truck corner?
The
Which one?
grassy area,
No, the one where the, warehouse right across the street from, well, on the
Where the
south side.
fitness
you
center
know,
was.
on our fitness building.
Yeah.
No, but Lady Sheets does working on trying to get a food truck Tuesday going.
Good.
And one thing about food trucks, people don't realize, they don't just show up.
No,
Yeah.
You have to guarantee them a certain dollar amount. So if you get 6 trucks and they want to be guaranteed $500 a truck, and you don't hit that,
Yeah.
who's paying that bill?
and I figured if we could finally get that lot leveled, be able to get a couple vehicles over there, put a couple of picnic tables, you can park over in Legion, walk across and do that. Legion could then possibly start opening up for lunch.
Yeah, but you got the grassy lot, why not use that?
that too, yeah. Well, I was just looking for a hard spot for the trucks to park.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause I know that you're trying to think about the alleyway over there for that, so.
So on that Marshall building, a little bit on the property, just, 2 meetings ago, presented the contract to hire John Bryant, that was our local historian, but he's into, runs the main streets up at Oakland County, Michigan. He's got like 20-some main streets that's nationally accredited, so on and so forth. He's in a historical preservation, knows the downtown historic districts and stuff. Hired him on as a consultant, and that's one of the first things we're gonna start working on is that Marshall building.
We're gonna
Going after some grants and stuff, and then make that possibly into a microbrewery, a pop-up event center, have a courtyard there, and possibly, he mentioned maybe try to incorporate a community center in there as well, so it's gonna be used, a lot more, so.
Came up clean though, didn't it?
As far as the
When they-
environmental.
Yeah,
Yeah, the tanks are already gone, but they found 2 fuel oil tanks, and then they found a hydraulic tank that went to the list. And so they have to remediate and all that, so we do have, the only thing we can't put on there is, residential.
Which is the same with Butler, Company, and, yeah. Pretty standard for any.
yeah, any industrial area, yeah.
I do have a company looking at that again for free, on phase 2 on that, to identify the hot spots that they had there and see if we can't possibly get them remediated or, get a little bit lesser zoning on it, so we can probably put something in there. And if you did housing, at least maybe that's gonna be a parking lot. And so they're working on that to the county for free.
Maybe they could expand the Willow Street traffic court.
Yeah. And then it had the same company looking at the lagoons of the wastewater plant. Not now, but eventually I was gonna want you to get out of the lagoon business and you're gonna have to do some of that. So I've always had the idea of remediating that one lagoon and make that into a fishing pond like Reedy's over there. So they're now doing testing on that phase 1, phase 2, no cost to the city. We already have a grant to the county to take care of that, so.
Yeah, the county got a bunch of money and is spreading it across the county, trying to use the grant money they got
Yeah, they got 500,000.
to do all these remediations or testings, et cetera.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Okay,
I was gonna say, I ran the last part of it, so I'm done.
when are you gonna have to call for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll second that one.
It was the longest half hour of my life.
I don't know,
Like,